Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live here on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel. And it's been another hot one here in Sheffield, 25 degrees in the shade today, and it has been a pretty manic week, it has to be said so far, both for myself and for Russ, and really looking forward to getting on with the ride tonight. I'll be brutally honest. It's going to be a bit of sanity, and that's in part due to it being made up basically of our keen regulars tonight, which is fantastic. Now, on Tuesday, we had one of the best rides for a long time. I got to say a massive thank you to everybody who rode. It really was so controlled, really looked good, and hopefully we're going to get another one of the same. I mean, we had a much hillier route on Tuesday. However, today we are back in Watopia, as you can tell by the background on the theme tune, and we're going to be heading to Beach Island Loop, which is a route we've not done for a while, as we mentioned on the show on Tuesday. Now we have got, of course, our regular Yellow Beacon, the man behind the Donny Chaingang, the builder of Pain Cavers extraordinaire, and the man who has got his legs hopefully in one piece. Let's give a shout and see how Russ is doing. It's sounding good. Russ, are you alive? Are the legs still working?
Yeah, a little bit warm, mate.
Odd that. I was. It's 25 degrees in the shade when I nipped out earlier on and had to load up the van, and I was just thinking it is going to be absolutely mad out there. I think it's going to be a really hot one, because if it's 25 degrees in the shade, that is going to be incredible once we go and you guys start riding. I hope everybody's really cool. I know one man who will be is Paul Whitelaw, who is saying he sold 500 litres of ice cream today.
Well, I've got 23.5 degrees on my thermometer in my back room, so yeah, it's going to be warm. Just before I remember, I've just been bantering on with Matt Stevens. Just saw he logged on to Swift. I said, "Oh, you coming?" So he sends his apologies. He reckons his fitness levels are not up to DCG standards after riding around Italy on a Brompton. So he will be back, but he sends his apologies that he's scared and he's got to do a bit of zone training to get back rolling.
Yeah, and I hope you did say that was just for him to get onto the red beacon, never mind anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't believe him. I just said to him, class as permanent, mate, and So yeah, he sends his apologies and he says he'll be back.
Oh, well, in that case, he'll be termed the Terminator next time he shows his face on the Chaingang. And it really is interesting, isn't it? People do feel they've got to have a certain fitness level to get on the Chaingang, but it's not always the case. It's somebody like Matt Stevens, as you say, class is permanent pretty much, and I'm sure he could jump on tomorrow. Maybe just not wanting to maybe embarrass himself. Maybe he has torn his legs off riding around on the Brompton, which, speaking of Brompton's fold. How's the pain cave going? Have you got the folding doors on yet?
It's folding, mate. Yeah, we're nearly there. We just had some jiggery pokery all week and a few little disturbs. But yeah, we fly. We got all the wiring ready to go in. So hopefully tomorrow it'll be maybe wired up and not quite ready to play, but all the first fixing, and then we can start and pull wires out and put some plaster boards and things in and have the wires ready to fit the connections on the big boom boxes to play some of this pop stuff that Jimmy Allen likes me playing on there and all that. Well,
I'm going to say it's certainly been good to see the evolution of the cave, and it's something I think all of us go through, building our own spaces that we use to Swift in, whether that's your garage, your pain cave, your cellar, the front room, the outside porch, or in Andy Hawes' case, a hotel room in some random spot all over the country. But tonight's going to be really in keeping, I think, isn't it, with the hot and sunny theme, given that we're on Beach Island Loop, and we've not been here, I don't think, since February.
Yeah, good few months, and I think last time we were here, a lot of people really enjoyed it. They said it was a great circuit, so I think it was just under an hour last time. So I thought, let's sweat it out for a bit longer. Let's do another lap. So another 15, 20 minutes or something. So it'll be, but it should be good.
Yeah, definitely going to be good. And it's one of those courses, isn't it, where it can catch you out by surprise, some of the little sections, because there are one or two places that hopefully are not going to take people out of the back, because the climb out from the start actually is pretty tough, isn't it? It's one of the hardest parts on the circuit.
Yeah, I think it's like 7-8% that little bit, and
yeah.
I say, hopefully at the start, the keen beans are off. We'll just let them roll, and then we'll just bring them back. The diesel engine, and we'll reel them in.
Definitely. Well, one man who's going to be doing some reeling into the red beacon bus is Alan Parsons. Now, Alan's standing in Bale, and we don't think that we're going to get the chevron over Alan today. So he's wearing a red jersey today. He's got a red top on, and he's got a red Tron bike on the go, apparently. So if you keep an eye out for Alan in a red jersey and with a red Tron bike, I think he's currently centre of the pack, lined up at the start on my screen anyway. So he's going to have a busy time. But so are you, Russ. I think we better let you actually get some typing done, because time has ticked on and it's nearly 3 minutes to go.
That's all right. Just on that, I think Alan Parsons, what is he? Is he Mr. Jimmy Ridley or something?
He is indeed.
Mr. Ridley, is he?
He's down as Mr. Ridley. So yes, if you're looking for Alan Parsons, you won't find him, but you will find Mr. Ridley, and that is Alan, who is going to be our red beacon.
Brilliant.
Good spot. Cool. Excellent. I'm going to let you crack on and get that typed out, and drop thumbs up on everybody, and let's show everybody where we're going. Speak to you soon, Russ.
Mate, have a good one.
And you. Cheers, bud. So great to catch up with Russ there, and as he says, make sure, if you're looking for the red beacon, it isn't going to be a beacon over the top. It is going to be a red top and a red Tron bike. Lots of messages coming on here, so going to be very good to see the guys on here. It's Ian Taylor's first Donny Chaingang anniversary as well, so congratulations, Ian. A full year on the Chaingang for you, and Ian, of course, one of our key supporters, and a massive thank you to the man responsible for the Oakley giveaways on the Chaingang, and of course members of the DCG gang get an extra 10% over what are already superbly cheap prices for Oakleys, and you really can indulge yourself on there, because Ian really does look after the members of the DCG gang. So thank you for everybody looking after us, which is great. Let's show you where we're heading tonight, because we are going to Beach Island Loop, and a big thank you to Swift Hacks and Swift Insider for all the info. Make sure you go onto the site. Now, as you can see, it is an anti-clockwise circuit. We've got next to no leading. It's basically 0.0k. And the way the course is designed, we drop pretty much straight on to the route. We do 4 laps tonight, which should bring us out at around about the 51.2k as we come into the downtown banner, the lap banner. Once again, we've got a warm down of approximately 1.8k, which takes us to the 53 kilometres. And Yellow Beacon, of course, Russ the Bear Downing, and the Red Beacon, Alan Parsons. So the aim will be for everybody to keep together as they come off from the start. And we talked about the profile and the climbs on the way out. Well, let's show you just how steady it is. In theory, it's super smooth, but you can see the start is at the centre at the top here on the Velo Viewer graphic. And as we move away from the start of the route, from that start, we're going out anti-clockwise. You can see there's a yellow patch. That is the first climb out up towards what's known as the S's, and round in towards the volcano. So that climb up before we do the sharp right turn from the S's into the volcano, that is actually quite steep. It's steep enough to split the group if people don't pay attention on the very start. So people can't go off too hard, too fast on the way out. So it is key that everybody stays together. Then we go round the side of the volcano, dropping down in, around, coming back from the volcano across towards the Italian villas, through the standard sprint line, dropping back right around the bridge down the start line, and then we're going to be heading back in to the area that brings us down to the tunnels. Then you can see that flat undersea tunnel, the lowest point of the course, before a climb out and back in towards the start. So looks like our riders are getting underway. The group are just about to leave the start, and our camera, the helicopter, just tracking, waiting to pick everybody up. So let's get you live into the ride here with me, Matt Payne, live on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel for the Thursday night Watopia Beach Island Loop on the Donny Chaingang. So welcome to the Donny Chaingang live here on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel. Our yellow beacon, Russ Downing, just keeping the pack together. Nice small compact group today, and I think we are going to drop down and in with them shortly as they get themselves together. Tricky start this for the riders because it is very quickly up the hillside here, but all of our regulars in here. You can see Alan Parsons in here, Ted's in here as well, and just see Miss Cookie in the group. Looks like Carl Johnson's in here. Now tonight with the red Tron bike and the red top will be our red beacon. Now Alan Parsons is taking over the red beacon duty. That's quite simply because he is jumping in instead of the existing one. So I think he's got yellow wheels on the bike, and we'll soon pick him out for you very shortly. Just watching the group heading up the climb. Let's drop some information in. I think we're dropping in with Ted at the moment. You can see we're coming up to the climb, top right hand side of your screen, and this is the steeper section before we're going to take that right hand turn. At the moment these riders riding pretty smoothly up the climb. Looks like Russ ticking along, 82 beats per minute. Ian Taylor, who's anniversary is on the DCG, 104 beats per minute for him. And this is your man himself, our beacon, Mr. Ridley. Alan Parsons jumping in, doing the job. A massive thank you. And what we are going to do, we're going to drop a big thumbs up, a ride on onto Alan, because Alan is our beacon tonight, and as you can see, just patrolling the back of the bunch. One or two riders just jumping in to the ride, and they will I think be jumping out and jumping in for late starts. And you just see Sonia Inslee and Craig Herring, I think Liam Calloway in the group there. So Sonia just jumping in to the pack now, and just working alongside Sonia in the black, Alan in the orange shirt to pull the riders in together. So as the group comes round in towards the tunnel on the bridge, Parsons and Inslee, our riders heading across the top of the bridge. The bike's ghosting the way around as Zwift boots everybody into the game. So the gang heading out, and this is the first of the bridges out and across, the start of the lap here. So as you can see, riders just making their way up towards the back of the pack. I think Alan and Sonia just pulling onto the back of the yellow beacon group. This a tricky start for the Chaingang. We do try and pick routes where the group can get together nice and steadily. Not necessarily the case tonight with that slight climb out, particularly if you jump in late. But I think Sonia and Alan jumping in to the back of the pack as we go past the lava fields here. So the pack quickly up to speed at the moment, and it looks like those numbers rolling around about that 2.5 watts per kilo. Nobody going too mad at the moment by the look of it, which is great. Lots of our regulars in the gang again tonight, and with that group reforming, time for me to get a quick coffee, a Grand Tour coffee. Don't forget, of course, members of the DCG gang, and if you want to just buy some, you can do so as well. You don't get quite the same discount as DCG gang members, but get in touch with Russ. Russ has stocks of Double Day Blend and the Yellow Beacon Blend. Great coffee. Gotta say, my favourite's actually the Double Day, but that's probably because I've got a serious addiction. Very good. Right, riders into the volcano. pack all together, all looking pretty smooth at the moment. We're going to let's have a run around some of the riders in here, some of our regulars. Let's jump on with the man who I will get to sponsor me one of these days. It is Paul Whitelaw. Paul, of course, a very fast finisher and one of the men to beat, particularly on an uphill finish. The ice cream man from Ambleside in the orange is back in orange today. Definitely a man to watch out for. 500 litres of ice cream sold today. That is some going. Going to jump in with Chris Ball. Chris, another of our regulars here. Chris in the black Wahoo top there. And choosing a disc wheel as well. Always a good move on this course because it is very, very fast indeed. Harley Hobbs, another of our regulars. Good to have Harley back in with us, and Harley on a lighter bike today, so that's going to be of advantage when we go up on to those climbs. But Harley just in here, just nicely sat in that group. And if we just zoom out and get up in the sky as we come out of the volcano, we're going to drop down this little slope. The group pretty much all together at the moment as we drop our way down. Let's jump in with some more regulars of the Chaingang. Mr. Hayward's in here, and of course Keith Hayward, one of our winners in the non-ers competition. Keith in the pink and grey kit, riding the pink Tron bike there. Let's see if we can get a good shot of Keith. Keith, of course, one of our winners, and looking smooth. 112 beats per minute, 70 revs per minute. Just nicely taking hold in position in the side of the group as we go along the side of the volcano, just down on the shoreline at the moment. Jumping in with Bobby Mason. Mason, another of our regular riders, and Mason just on the side here. And again, another rider going for a relatively lightweight bike here, so clearly not think he's going to have a problem on the flatter sections, but it may well be that he's wanting that advantage on the climbs. Now, just taking a little bit of a look here, this group looks to have split into two at the moment. So if we take a little bit of a zoom in, the group just splitting apart into two groups here, and looks like, let's take a little look, yep, behind Liam Calloway, the Yellow Beacon group just being distanced here by the riders up in front. Let's jump back in with that group behind, and you can see these riders are putting in some serious numbers here to try and stay with the pack. Not sure what's going on up at the front, but it's definitely not rolling out. And you can see here Miss Cookie putting out 3 watts per kilo to get back on once again. Clearly the guys on the front are going maybe a little bit hard for the riders in the main group here. Just because there's a few of you doesn't mean you have to rip it up from the start. Definitely not. It'll get quick enough, don't worry on this course. So just see Mr. Ridley back there. Looks like Craig Herring, one of our regulars. So Craig just in the group, and remember, it's all about riding with the Yellow Beacon. Numbers are relatively immaterial when we ride along the flat in terms of watts per kilo, because if you're a big rider like me, say you're 85 kilos, you do 2 watts per kilo, you're going to be shunting out just short of 200 watts. So you're kicking out just under 200 watts. That's going to motor you along. If we've got a rider at 50 kilos and they put out 2 watts per kilo or even 3 watts per kilo, they're still going to be a lot less and a lot slower. So it's about staying with yellow. That's why we always say stay with the boys in yellow. Just in with Mr. Dench here, and just see AD nicely tucked in with the main pack here. Eddie, of course, in that bikes and beers jersey, and she's in disc wheel and deep rim. That would be my choice for this, because when it goes quick, it is going to pick up the pace pretty fast. Looks like pretty much everybody together. Dick Samuel and Carl Johnson there. Russ just having to use a feather flag to keep in with the pack. That shows you that it is moving pretty quick up near the front of the group. Looks like the two wrestlers are just taking the pace back, and it was one of the things we did notice. We've watching the replay back, we've got a number of cameras that we don't broadcast. We've also got a number of people, a number of avatars watching riders all the way through the group. And watching the group back, it was very interesting to see that there was plenty of people struggling to adjust to the fact that we had less riders. We've all got used to having 200, 300, 400 riders on the Chaingang. When we get down to sub 50, then all of a sudden it gets a little bit more interesting now. Looks like two of our regulars definitely up the front of the road. Not quite sure where they're heading. I think we'll leave Craig Herring to do my jokes. He's doing a great job. So you can just hear the tunnels raining down on the riders. Just keeping a check. Looks like Ted is going to be heading for the beacon group here, the red beacon group. Just take a little bit of a check back here. Yeah, just see Alan Parsons and Miss Cookie all forming a group. Ted just dropping back to give him a hand to head towards the main pack now. We're coming up towards the right hand turn, and this takes us back. It's one of the newer roads on the Zwift course here, and you can just see that yellow beacon group heading around the corner out towards the main bridges. Once again, we're going to take a right hand turn though. We're not going to go up the main climb. This is one of the very obvious cut crosses that we always thought that we were going to see on the world in Watopia. And that is quite simply because it cuts across from the big climb at the back behind the riders there, and from one side of the from one bridge across to the other. Now we're going to take a little bit of a left hand turn coming up. The left fork will drop us down in towards the tunnels, and you can just see, I think that's going to be Paul Whitelaw just dropping back there just to give him a hand at the back of the group. So Liam Callaway it is who has gone back as well. So Whitelaw just dropping back a little bit. If we get a chain of riders at the back there, that makes life a lot easier. Just keeping an eye there. I think just going to see a few others just dropping back. Looks like Rich Orrell doing the same as well. So as these riders drop back, you can see there's a long chain of riders starting to form behind the yellow beacon. That will allow the riders at the back to get back into the group. And you can just see one or two riders just easing off the pressure to bring that group back together, because it's about working together. That's how the Chaingang works. The front of the group will motor along whether it's helped along or not. So let's jump in with, I think it's going to be Andy Hawes. Let's jump in with Mr. Hawes here. So Andy, as you can see, currently has 3 Chaingangers behind, just closing on his wheel. Just ones and twos in there. Looks like Whitelaw's still in there. Looks like Craig Genther sat in this group as well. So it is going to be Craig Genther just in front of Andy. It's Rich Orrell in there. So the 3 Musketeers with Alan Parsons and Miss Cookie just working back in, and they're going to get a fair sized group here as Parsons and Cookie work their way back on. And this is where it's about being a group together, get the draft working correctly. Now these 5 will be wanting to move up towards the main group. The main group currently sitting at about 6 seconds up the road so we speak, so that's going to be a bit of a push, but they've got Paul Whitelaw just up the road, Shelley Charles, Keith Richardson, Rich Crawley not too far away. Here we go, onto the back of that pack, and this is where you've really got to push, particularly if you're a lighter rider. So all but one rider now back into the pack. Just watching these riders heading down onto the Marina Bridge. Just following Andy Hawes' Pinarello Dogman on its way down over those boards back into the group in around the yellow beacon there, and this group working well. Keith Hayward there just dropping back for that yellow beacon in that distinctive grey and pink outfit. Looks like Alan Parsons in that group. Russ just sitting in the pack there. The group still working well together. So no right turn up onto the mountain for us, round towards the tunnels we go once again. You can see at the moment nobody pushing hard. Looking at the numbers, the rest of the group sitting at about 1.7 to 1.8 watts per kilo in the middle of the group. Everybody knowing that it will soon ramp up. So it looks like Shelley Charles just dropping back with Cookie and Parsons. You just see them there, the yellow beacon just in front of them. So 3 riders on the dirt roads at the moment, kicking up the dust, chasing the main pack down. And again, just seeing 1 or 2 riders just dropping back to help out, to give a wheel to the riders. And that's going to be Whitelaw, Childs, Parsons and Cookie heading down on to the bridge once again. It looks like Russ at the moment just easing off the pressure to make sure these riders go on. They've been chasing since the climb out from the tunnels, and it shows you just how far these riders have had to go. So good to see some of our regulars out, going to be out and racing. Looking forward to seeing people in real life down at the mountain bike. Neil Mansfield missing the Donny Chaingang, going to be down in Fowey, down at the Woody's Bike Park, and looking forward to seeing Neil down there. If you are down and you're down at the races, come down, say hello. As long as I'm not mid-flow in the commentary, definitely be good to catch up with a few people in real life, and really looking forward to that. So for those of you who maybe don't follow the mountain biking, we have the National Mountain Bike Cross Country Race Series, the XCO Series. Yours truly having been on the mic for that. I think it's coming up for 10 years at this rate. We're actually going to have to do a little look back and check. Looking forward to seeing everybody back in a field, a dusty, dry field, hopefully. Although the weather forecast for those of you heading down there, it is due to be about 15 to 17 degrees, whereas in the middle of the country it's going to be about 25 degrees over the weekend. Now the group working well here. I'm going to be down there watching people hopefully riding as fast. Rumours that I'm going to be shouting go, go, go at the riders are totally true, and there may well be words like Red Beacon Group and the Donny Chaingang mentioned more than once, because it's been the mainstay of keeping my commentary skills sharp over the time scales. So great to see the group back together again, and if everybody works as well as this at the weekend, it's going to be great fun to be back in real life. Donny Chaingang coming out, of course, next week on Tuesday and Thursday as well. Some great routes coming your way. Really looking forward to those. I'm going to be bringing you all of the action on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. Russ and myself waiting in anticipation, and really looking forward to seeing how they ride. Good to see the gang all together, and as you can see, just underneath the sea, the helicopter just tracking over the top of the tunnels at the moment, and as you can see, our beacon group at the back just nicely starting to collect riders. Just riding in with Alan Parsons at the back of this group. So it looks like Craig Herring sat in this group. Keith Richardson is in the darker strip, that sort of dark grey, red and teal blue colour. So nicely rolling round by the back. Looks like Greg Pillsworth, Darrell Sean Wallen, all sat in with the group in this pack, working along well. They're going to see a kick as we come up on to the climb out from the tunnels, but as you can see at the moment, it is well and truly the underwater experience for our riders. Always interested to see what appears alongside you when you're riding through here. So the group now coming into the ramp that will bring them back up towards the boulevard. This is where the lighter riders will push on over the top. The rest of the riders, if you're similar rider to me, always hit this with a certain amount of not this hill once again. So as the group makes its way up the hill, out of this ramp, out from the tunnels and in towards the daylight, the group all together coming round to complete lap number 1 here on the Donny Chaingang. Looks like everybody are pretty much all together as we come out from the tunnels and out on to the shoreline. So we're going to change our focus slightly and drop across to Dan Coleman. Coleman, one of our fast riders, one of the men who was really showing just how quick he is earlier on in the week, and good to have Dan back in with us in that blue, grey and white. Always a fast rider, and always a rider who's prepared to go back and help out, as well as the riders trekking along the side of the desert at the moment. Coleman keeping it nice and smooth at the moment. If we pop up the head-up display, you can see 81 revs per minute. So lots of messages on the chat, on the message board bouncing around. Going to be questions being asked about whether or not there should be a sprint. I don't think people are particularly up for it tonight. Let's see what happens if we get one. We get the message board up. It's not been called yet, which is always good to see. But you can just see the pace just picking up. But everyone has to regroup after, so it is dependent on people playing the game properly. Just going to take a little bit of a look. You will see who's got a little bit of pace on them. Looks like Coleman's going for it, even if nobody else is. So Coleman at the moment kicking off the front. So that's going to be really interesting, because he's just been told by Russ, not this one. I think he means the green sprint, guys. So Chris not wanting to get cramp again. Chris Heseltine James, the man who does more miles than Softbeat. I thought you'd have enough salt in your system not to get cramp, mate, having spent the week at the seaside. Good to have Chris back on the Chaingang with us. Chris Heseltine James, one of our regular riders. Dan Coleman's definitely keen, going for the wrong sprint there. Good lad. Always interesting to see. Looks like that little bit of pace pickup has split the group slightly. Let's take a little bit of a run back. Let's make sure we've got everybody back together again. And looks like Tim just getting dropped a little bit on the way through here. So let's just keep an eye on. Looks like Tim just dropping the pace off there. Just not sure whether that was a power dropout or similar. Looks like Malin at the back of this group is going to be able to see behind him Leary. So it looks like Leary may well be in a little bit of trouble at the back. We'll see if that continues. He's back up at 3.8 watts per kilo, so can't be having that much of a problem. The revs flying all over the place though on the machine at the minute. So it could well be there's some gremlins in the system for Mr. Leary at the moment. Looks like Richardson dropping back to try and lend a hand here. So Richardson just dropping back, picking up Leary here. We're going to see a few more riders just coming off the back. Looks like Coleman preparing to do the same. Russ will be keeping an eye on this. Russ with his multiple screens and multiple views. He's pretty quick with those camera angles, and just keeping a check on the riders as they come up the hillside here. So it's like Leary just pushing on towards the back of that Coleman. Ignore the time gaps on the right hand side, they're definitely not accurate at the moment. It's quite simply because the guys are on the way back through. So Coleman on the bridge, just waiting for Leary and Richardson, just dropping in with Leary. So it looks like Chris Heseltine James has just opened the biggest can of worms known to man, with the exception of whether you should have 100% on the gradient and on the resistance on your turbo train. The only thing more controversial than how much power that you're going to use. Not sure where Russ is aiming for at the moment. Darren Showwaller just dropping off the back, and there's a few people not concentrating to me definitely. That's the case. Russ going for the 3 seconds on the power meter option. Now we've got a group off the back here, and this is going to be a group that's going to need to come back together, I think, because there's about 6 riders in there at this stage, and that's going to need to be pulling back together before we hit the sprints. The guys on the front are going to need to back that pace a touch, because as you can see, they're into the volcano, and we're just looking for the view behind. Craig Genther's dropping back, looks like Darren Showwaller just behind Coleman, trying to pull the gang on. Richardson doing the same, Callaway doing the same, Ridley and Leary on the back, but they are the riders at the moment who have the work to do. You can see at the moment they are trying to push back into the back of the pack. You can't afford to relax for a second going up the hills, because those gaps open up so fast. Let's see if we can get in with Russ, who's just a little bit further up the road at the moment, and let's see if we can catch him. Russ, how are you doing?
I'm alright, mate.
It's a little bit fractured on those climbs with this smaller group. People are struggling, I think, to feel the group together.
I think it's Chris Heseltine James throwing the ticking time bomb of power question in there, isn't it?
Well, it'll be, like I said on the commentary, if he asks someone about whether or not you should have your turbo trainer set to maximum difficulty, then we're definitely not going there.
That's Jimmy Allen, that one. He always throws that bomb in there, doesn't he?
He does, and he bites as well if somebody else puts it in as well.
I think Craig Erin does the bites, doesn't he? He's straight on the end of the line, isn't he?
Well, oddly enough, yep. Hook, line and sinker, as the saying goes. That's for sure. Good to see you.
No one uses 100%. Straight into that one, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Why would you use 100%? What? Just out of interest, where'd you set your turbo? I put mine somewhere between 15 and about 25%, depending on how it feels.
Mine's on whatever it came out of the box at.
Excellent. Right answer, Russ.
Yeah. I'm a Wahoo athlete, and whatever they gave me, I just rode it. Now, I think, joking apart, it comes out at 50, so that's where it stays.
Yeah, it's really about personal feel, isn't it? And there's just like anything, there's preferences on that. But we are seeing the group split. We just watch it on the screen at the moment. Looks like Parsons is now officially bus driving. So looks like the bus is in action, and it's got Alan on there. Now, if they ride steady, we have a sprint potentially coming up on the green sprint in the Italian villas. Is that right?
Well, just see what Dan Coleman wants to do. He seems to be the boss, just rolling up whenever he fancies it. And
I think he fell for it when you said you want a sprint. He thought, oh, next country.
He just loves turning the screw on me, doesn't he? Than I even tried to buy the ride, and he just pissed off and left me, him and Paul Whitelaw.
Oh, not that you're bitter, Russ. Not that you're bitter about it.
I was in there for the kill, I did everything right, and they just You know, they even looked at my wheel setup and thought, right, we've got him here. So
Yeah, definitely. I think that is the case. That is the case. Although I've got to say, Dan was very good. He was just off the back not all that long ago, picking up the group and pulling them forward. So he has been doing his fair share at the back.
yeah, so going back to that sprint, the one that is out of the Italian villas and then just over the little bridge thing.
Yeah, so out of the Italian villas, we go up the climb, up the dusty climb, where it'll all split a little bit. And then if it keeps together there, we do a left turn, don't we? Then we go onto the cobbles, and just as we come into the tunnel, just go underneath the tunnel, that's where the sprint start is, and it's a 300-metre sprint from there to just before the bridge in the right-hand turn.
That sounds about right. That's the one I was looking at earlier. I was just bringing someone back thinking, oh, I think we could sneak a sprint in here, and it's quite short enough, and then after that, so yeah, let's have a bash for that and see. That group's 21 seconds now, and they seem to be all getting together. So yeah, they've done well. 20k in with us. So
yeah, ticking along. And the if we jump up to the main group or to your group, you just see the pack is together. But this is really dusty in here. It's actually quite hard, isn't it, when you're riding, to see everybody around you. If we go to a rider view, it is actually quite tricky to know where the front is and where the back is when your view is this.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's just like real life. You know, so it's not always like riding on the cobbles. You never want to ride on the cobble on the wheel in front, because anything happens, you're in trouble. So you always see, you know, they've just got a wheel like laying off. So if anything happens, they can get out of jail and whip round a crash or whip round a pothole. So it's like real life. Just sit off the wheel a bit and just cruise.
Well, that's definitely the case when we're going to be potentially coming into a sprint. So let's see what everybody gets up to and how behaved they are. We'll let you concentrate and get everybody brief for us. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, I need to get my heart rate of 100 first before I can do anything. So this climb should do it, I think.
I think so. Cheers, mate.
All right, mate.
So great to catch up with Russ there, who's in the middle of this group. You can just see that chevron flying above Russ's head. And if that group comes back together, the people who are looking for a fast sprint time, what they need to be doing is going towards the back of the pack and using the draft of the rest of the riders to come through quickly. Some people will be saving the legs and not going too mad as they make their way up through the sprint, maybe saving that energy. There's only so much glycogen you store in the muscles. There's only so many times that you can kick hard through to the front, so it's all going to be about seeing who's got any pace on them and where they start off in the group. The sprint times will come up on the left hand side of the screen, so it is all going to be about making sure that the riders are together as they come in towards the sprint section. So here we go. Riders back on the way in, and this is where current fastest time is a 33.49. Expect this to get smashed to pieces. So just keeping an eye, looks like Dan Coleman hitting this running at the moment. We're in with Dan at 11.2 watts per kilo. He's absolutely flying along here. Can he beat his 38.4? Can he bring it down? I think he's going to be in there in the kill. He's on the back wheel of riders who are sprinting. He's actually closing them down here. And you can just see Coleman, I think, is likely to roll around this corner absolutely flat out. So absolutely storming through there. And a very, very quick time. Coleman setting that green jersey, a personal best time of 21 seconds. 21 seconds on his way through there. That is some going. And if you look there, it's absolutely snowing PRs. You can see rider after rider after rider after rider after rider after rider getting personal best times through there. But it has indeed broken the group up. And as you can see, riders all over the course now, and that's going to take some pulling it back together again. So you're easily taking the women's yellow jersey on the way through, so the fastest women's time there as well. So very, very quick time. And if we take a look, I think our Beacon is the only rider really massively off the back of this group. We're just going to try and drop our way back through the pack, which is easier said than done. We've got to be a little careful today. You can just see riders are fairly distant on the way through. I think Osman potentially going to be the last rider that isn't one of our duo out on the road. So just in front, I think the pack just splitting up a little bit at the moment. We're going to jump up in the sky. Let's get the drone camera rolling up there. Just in with Harley at the moment, in with Harley Hobbs. So here we go. A little bit of a split. Group off the back behind the yellow beacon, just pulling its way in. The red beacon is Alan Parsons, just going around above our riders. It's going to be dropping down. Can't see the red beacon unfortunately now, so let's have a little look. So we will bring you the results when we get back round towards the green, but some seriously quick times on the way through. Personal best from just about everybody on the way through there, and that's what the chain gang's all about. Everybody improving as they come in and through. Now that group's starting to reform. Just going to take a look. So we can just see the pack is starting to break up a little bit. Ted just being distanced here. So just riding in with Ted making his way onto the back of the pack here and keeping smooth over the top of the bridge. Ted with the ever-varying hat on. Not sure what it matches today, but Ted's sartorial elegance has definitely improved over the course of the Donny Chaingang. So Andrew Edwards on his way down, and got to say a massive thank you to Ted for the offer of some support when we're down at the National Mountain Bike Series. This weekend we've got lots more gigs coming up in real life as well. I know Russ has got starting to get a few more of the events starting to come in. A lot of the places like a Wheelbase in Staveley with the Pinarello Day is going to be up there, and going to be the test day up at the Wheelbase base in Staveley in the Lake District. Don't forget, of course, we've got lots more racing coming up in real life. Looking forward to being down at the Otley Crypt, back on the mic once again and catching up with all the road gang there. On the mic for the National Road Championships as well, and lots of events in between. And of course, the Donny Chaingang every Tuesday and Thursday on the way through. So great to see things starting to look busy, and lots of people getting out and riding both in the real world and on Zwift. Now just see Ted at the moment just having to fight a little bit here to stay anywhere near that group. They're about 6 seconds up the road is Dan Coleman, 10 seconds and Harley Hobson. In fact, Ted is now equidistant with the group in front and the pack behind. And the chasing duo, I think Cookie, not all that far behind, is going to be seeing our beacon. So let's take a little bit of a check back. Now looks like Leary and Ridley 20 seconds behind. Teddy's 10 seconds up the road. Coleman just pushing his way back into the pack at 5.5 watts per kilo. Looks like Ted's going back for Cookie. And these two have actually bumped into each other in real life. They've been out riding in real life, so I'm sure they'll be chatting away like there's no tomorrow. The big pack at the moment on lap number 2, 22.2k done. And the riders now going over the bridges before dropping down into the tunnels. Riding with Carl Johnson here. Carl, another of our regulars on the Chaingang. You see Carl back in with us again. Yeah, plenty of watts there. That heart rate nice and steady, 150 beats per minute. Whitelaw sitting in the middle of the pack, so is Darryl Tashilwala. Looks like Dr. D is in here. Armott's in the main group. Garfoot in here. Ian Taylor from 1080. The 1080 promotions continue onwards on the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Running in with Chris Bull. Martin Bolt in here. Our one-time long time red beacon. Now sat in this group. 1 or 2 riders being distanced a little bit further back. So Craig Herring said he used to go to school here. A man full of very fishy jokes. So the pressure on a little, but the group reforming here. Everybody pretty much back together again. Oh dear. So the jokes start coming in. Feel free to add them on the message board. Did he say that joke on Poipers? You can say that in your best Poipers accent. Good stuff, mate. I'm sure there's plenty more. I'm sure we'll be trawling the bottom of the barrel soon, though, for them. Very good, Matt Crease. So if you've read the book by Charlie Vaglis, really good to see everybody here taking the mickey. And Craig Herring, one of those riders who can laugh at himself, and that was a really important trait that Charlie said he had. Is that he had the ability to take the mickey out of himself and laugh at himself, which is something the Italians didn't do, and that meant that he managed to settle into the team when he was first joining Mapei relatively quickly. Oh. Looks like the Doctor hitting new heights. Says scaling the heights of comedy tonight. Very good. Let's take a little bit of a drop back. Let's have a look and see how things are reforming. So here we go. The riders are on the way through, and it looks like Ted and Cookie working well together here. Then about 33 seconds behind, we can just see Mr. Ridley just trying to give a tow to Leary, but Leary looks like he's dropped out. Looks like a drop out for Tim Leary. So looks like Ridley now is going to have to push on to try and catch up with Ted and Cookie. So Leary is done and dusted. He's battered for sure. So Cookie and Ted on the climb, and Alan Parsons, Mr. Ridley, helping Tim Leary till his legs went pop. Good riding, mate. And let's say well done to Mr. Leary. That was great riding, mate. And thanks for talking to the beacons. Makes a big difference to them. So it's all about making sure you tell the guys when you're going well, when you're not going well, and when you're about to jump off. So well done, buddy. We'll catch you soon again, I'm sure, on the Chaingang. Now Alan Parsons on that climb. Cookie and Ted are together, and just in front of them the main group. So Richardson, it is at the back of this pack, just a little more strung out now as we move through. So just seeing Dan Coleman, Keith Richardson, Harley Hobson, 3 riders just at the back of this pack has come up towards the end of this lap. Duo of riders up behind, that's Miss Cookie and Ted. They're waiting to catch anybody who doesn't stay on the wheels, but the pace definitely starting to pick it up now. So just watching the rise, I think Harley Hobbs now in trouble. That gap has opened up enough to distance Harley. You can just see that solo figure off the back of the group. We're going to spin the camera around, and Harley at the moment just distanced enough to not get any draft. It's 3 bike lengths. The gap, if you're not within 3 bike lengths of the rider in front, you're not getting the draft advantage, and that means you're being distanced. And you can just see 1 or 2 riders just dropping back to go give Harley and gang a hand back there. So we've got 3 riders just at the back, just moving to give a little bit of a hand to Harley Hobbs. So Trevor Crehan and Craig Genther have both gone back there. And I'm just going to drop in with Craig at the moment. So we're riding in with Craig Genther here. Craig just on the front of this duo at the moment. So it is Genther, Hobbs and Crehan, the 3 riders just distance from the front group. And look at that, Craig Genther and Andy Hawes just out of the saddle there. Harley Hobbs in with that group, looks like behind. Andy Hawes and Trevor Crehan are going to be the riders just having to push into the group. That's Andy in the Assos kit there in the grey and black. Just seeing them all starting to come back together again now. Who's just distanced a little bit at the back of the pack. This time it's Nick McDermott. So McDermott, the next rider who's just been pushed off the back, quickly jumps back in though. McDermott's got the power, the man in the Team Type 1 jersey there. He's definitely got the pace to bring himself back into that group. So let's check out, I think, Steve Cannon in this group. So just riding in with Cannon here. And Cannon looking pretty smooth on a relatively lightweight set of wheels, but it often plays out better on Zwift if you pick a bike that works on your weaknesses. If we look at Cannon, you can see those bulging forearms and the biceps on Cannon. That means he's probably going to be able to put enough power down to stay with the group on the flat. Once it goes on the hills, a bit like myself, that makes life a little bit more difficult. His avatar very reminiscent of mine, in fact. Now Russ just at the back of the group, and Harley Hobbs just putting the message out. Thank you for everybody for pulling everyone in. So Matt Crease just messaging, really wants to know if there's any sledging in the pro peloton. The answer to that is yes, lots and muchos. Russ will tell you better than me, but yeah, plenty of people getting in each other's ribs, and like anything, there are certain characters that people get on with and certain characters they don't like any cross section in life. But you have to get Russ on a non-public forum for him to tell you all of the stories, that is for sure. So this group back together again and riding well, no stragglers. Now at this stage everybody regrouped after that climb as we head down and into the tunnels. So through we go inside the volcano. One of the wonderful things about Watopia is it is custom built. It's designed to do exactly what the game designers intended. They can change the terrain, they can set that up, but they can put in the gradient, the road surface, they can dial in anything they want. They can play about with surfaces and temperatures. There's no way in real life you'd be riding through a lava field like this, but it's Swift, and because of that it means that we can do that as a part of the game, no problems at all. So Russ just drifting towards the back of that pack at the moment. The group are pretty much all holding together. So Cannon moving his way in through that pack. Let's jump in with Craig Anthony. Looks like Russ just getting using that drafting power up there to try and get back into the group. He's moving very quickly down this descent here, and you can just see riding in with Russ at the moment on those disc rear deep rim on the front, those halo wheels on the Pinarello in real life, and Russ using that to good effect as he comes into the pack. You can just see him using that draft. He's on the way through. So 29.6k covered, 50 minutes of riding done. This group moving just a little bit slower, I think, than the last time. It's going to be potentially a relatively long one tonight, I think, the Chaingang, because we're on 53k in total, but everybody riding nicely together, which is great to see. Long may it continue, because that's how you get the fast times. So the group together, the pack rolling well. Russ saying here 100 beats per minute, or just under. So Russ clearly not planning on going anywhere quick at the moment. He's, as he said last time, has to get above 100 beats per minute to be heading off down the in any kind of speed down the road, heading in towards the Italian villas at the moment. So the climb, the long drag up into the villas, and we'll be through the sprint that we used last time. Then taking the right turn back, almost back to the villas itself, and then dropping it down in towards the tunnels once again. So into this long draggy climb we go. You can just see the gradient at the bottom just starting to ramp up. We'll be working our way around that series of turns, the left and right hand turns, before diving in to the villas. So looks like Sonia Inslee starting the pack here. Steve Hilbert in here, Keyworth in here, Callaway, Hayward, Evans, Parry, everybody sitting in this group. Craig Herring in there as well. Chris Esseltine James 2/3 of the way down that pack at the moment. Pretty much everybody just rolling through together. So 31.5k Russ just rolling through in that Downing cycling kit, and don't forget, of course, you can get that in real life. You can get hold of that from Russ or from Dean, the Downing cycling coaching works kit, of course, available in real life and on the game to anybody who has a coaching account with them. So in we go on to the sprint, and times from the last time coming up on your screen, so we're going to slowly roll down those. You'll be able to get those back if you play back the footage. The fastest time 21.16 from Coleman, Herring 21.49 in the women's, Sonia Inslee 23.43 and a 27.56 from Harley, and we saw personal best after personal best after personal best last time through. That's not going to be the case this time. I think everybody now just taking it a little bit easier and giving their legs a little bit of a break on the way through. So Russ now bringing this group through. They're going to take the right-hand turn. 32k as we go underneath the green banner. So the go has gone. Russ has pulled this early. This is very early to go. That is a mean trick because we're at 32k. We've got 53k to go tonight. And that means that we've got 20k of go. That is harsh. That is really, really harsh. This is really going to test these riders. And you can just see all of a sudden the pace is hotted up here at the front. Everybody's absolutely nailed now because they all want to be in with that group. But how hard you go? We've got to drop down, go through the tunnels, into the finish, and then out for another lap here. And Russ pushing this to a 4-lapper. It's meant with the smaller group, we are in for a marathon, not a sprint. I think everybody's going to be feeling this now. Liam Callaway on the group, pushing on the front here. And they're all dropping down this slope at the moment in pursuit. Genther is in the kill here. And certainly the go. The guys all sitting with Russ. Now, really interesting to see. Nobody going too mad on the front at the moment. But the gaps are starting to open up. And Chris Heseltine, James, I think, is the rider in trouble. Let's just jump in with Chris. You can see here, Chris is just off the back here of that group. He's got to be within 3 bike lengths. So it could well be that all that bantering has expended all Chris's energy, and he needs to get his finger out. He's even getting shouted on here. We've got the women's yellow beacon in here. Emma's just joined us, and he's pushing on here. But can he get himself back in with Hayward? Hayward's being distant, so Keith Hayward. Maybe it was too much time down at Nonna's, winner, of course, of one of our Nonna's prizes. Hayward here being chased down, and the jokes continue onwards. So Heseltine James pushes on, was in front. He's saying he's skipper, but he's pushing very, very hard at the moment. Now behind we've got the next group of riders coming on hard. So just keeping an eye here on these riders. I've been joined here by the women's beacon. So it looks like our yellow beacon Emma is with us. She's used to people pushing the button, and she's been known to push it long. Emma, the guys are here. We've got a long way to go here with nearly 20k. It's breaking up rapidly, isn't it?
It is, and it's warm this evening. These guys are really going to be actually feeling it.
You can just see these groups really are working hard. We're just going to take a little bit of a run down the road. So our leading group here with Russ in at the front, big pack of riders. Then we've got a chasing group being led now. This is Chris Heseltine James. He's got Tukey, Hay, Garfoot, looks like Mason in this group. So this is group number 2. Group number 3 is this group containing Sonia Inslee. Looks like Steve Hilbert is in here. Then a little bit further back, looks like we've got Cannon, we've got Bolt, we've got Flynn in here. The guys really are spread all over the road now by this. Looks like Ted a bit further back, and our Beacon and Cookie. So Alan Parsons, our Beacon and Cookie in at the back of that group. They are absolutely trying to nail this though, because they've got to get in a group quickly. If they don't get in a group quickly and they're left on their own, just like Chris Sandstein James was, they get pulled back. Emma, you got to be in a group for this, surely.
You do, and with kit like that, Chris, you've really got to be leading that group in that outfit today.
It's a strong look, that is for sure, but we'll see if Chris Heseltine James can produce a performance to match the kit at the moment. He's kicking out 300 watts, 161 beats per minute. The old fella's going to be struggling if he's not careful. He can't push that heart rate up too much higher than that. He's got a lot of work to do though to get in here, and we're now starting to see Parry starting to struggle here. So as we jump in with Parry, you can just see that lightweight bike with the aero wheels. He's just being distance. We're going to drop down into the descent here. And Parry's at 3.1 watts per kilo, up to 4 now, but this is going to take a big push on this descent. Sean Ferren is in front, and Ferren, you can just see, has got Parry coming behind him. It's only 1 second, but it's enough, and you can just see once you're off the group, you are in major trouble. The man in the danger zone now, well, that is going to be Horsey as Russ pushes on the front. Horsey is noticing the danger, and he's trying to work his way up. Dr. D rolling about at the back of this group. Malin, Pillsworth, Richards They're all, though, feeling the pressure because it looks like Russ has suddenly got a wriggle on the front, and that work that Russ did on the front to stretch that gap out, it's left everybody chasing, and nobody wants to take it up too soon here because they know there's still a long way to go. And look at that group really has whittled down now from the big pack that we had to start off with. All of a sudden looks like McDermott just closing on the heels of Russ Herring, nicely ensconced in a bit like a mackerel in a shoal there, just up near the front third of the group. Just waiting for Emma to come out with some very dodgy fish jokes. So this group working well, and it is just about holding together. So our group are rolling along here, and it looks like it is pretty smooth in the main pack. People taking the turns on the front, and good to see some faces that not always right up with the group, and good to see them moving. So it looks like everybody gone very quiet. Rich Orrell, Liam Calloway in here, Keith Richardson as we're moving up on to the main slope here. This is the big drag out from the tunnels, and it's where we're going to see who's got some pressure on. Look at the rest coming from Whitelaw as he rolled onto the front there, then quickly rolling back off again in the orange. You can see everybody on there, and there's a few digs being put in here. Look at this, there's a gap starting to open. People have got to respond to this. It's a really mean place to put the pressure on because that is where the gaps start to open. You can see everybody fighting for the wheels here. It is really tight in this group, and the pressure starting to take its toll. Richardson and Genther putting in a concerted dig on the front, and that has started to break up the group behind. It really is starting to get tricky now. Let's give you some time checks as our leading groups makes its way along the top here, just following the riders that go over the top. It looks to me like the leading group currently have 54 seconds on group number 2. So 54 seconds to group 2, a minute and 8 to group 3. It's a minute and 25 to group 4. It's 2 minutes 33 to group 5 and 3 minutes to group 6. 4.5 minutes to group 7 and 5 minutes to the red beacon group, and that really has escalated very quickly. Now that work that was done by the team on the front, that attack and that big push has really stretched it out, and once again Russ has decided to stretch it out. He's gone on to the front and he's looking to give everybody a hard time here. So it looks like Russ really is wanting to rip this up a little bit. People maybe poke the bear a little bit too much with the fish jokes. So running in with Russ at the moment, let's have a little bit of a look. He's certainly been trained. He's been pushing hard there, heart rate up at 150 beats per minute from ticking over just under 100 beats per minute. But the work being done here by Genther as they come up and they close him down. Andy Hawes in there, Shelley Charles, AD Dench in the group as they go around the outside. Russ now just pushing on the pedals a little to get back into that group. We've got about 5 minutes between the front and the back. It's going to be 1 lap left to go for the group, so still plenty of distance. 12.8 the lap around Beach Island Loop. I'm going to need to refill halfway at this rate. Might have my OT bottle, my Supercars bottle with me, but I don't think it's going to be enough today. Might have to do a bit more fueling as we go over the hour mark now. Let's have a little look at the front now. Clark it is who is working hard. Another of our winners on the Chaingang competitions on the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG Gang competitions. A massive thank you to everybody who's joined the DCG Gang as Adi Dench goes in pursuit of Dawtas Shawwala. I think he's going to come around him pretty quickly here. Onto the front goes Dench. Dench just keeping the pressure on. Who's going to take a flyer? Is anybody going to go over the top? Russ quickly closing that gap down. 6.9 watts per kilo from Russ. Just easing off now down to sub 2 as he goes on to the front. You just see feathers going in. It's going to be a tough one tonight with that go coming so early, and it's a long one. It's going to be a fast end to this, but I think at the moment these riders are looking to really keep that pace hot, and the group is splitting again. And people are having to work hard to close the gap down. Just see Clark and Whitelaw now coming across the gap towards Russ. So Whitelaw in the orange makes contact. Then I think it is going to be Clark behind, closing down the gap from Clark. Looks like Liam Calloway going over the top. You can see that blue feather, so the blue buster. That is the drafting bonus, the power up that comes that gives you that extra little bit of assistance from the riders in front. Richardson's going to make this, but I think Osman and Gang, let's drop in with them now, they are going to have their work cut out. So Osman leading this group of 4 is Osman, Pillsworth, Orrell and Hawes in there, and those 4 riders now distanced by that leading group. If they work together very quickly, they have a chance, but at the moment they are less numbers in that group than there are in the group in front. And as the saying goes, generally you do get dropped for a reason. So as we come around the corner here, these riders now seeing the gap opened at 3 seconds now between them and the riders in front. It's about it's going to be 30 seconds back to the group behind by the look of the map. If we zoom out, we get about 30 seconds the distance on the ground there. But they are trying to close this gap down. If we take a little bit of a look back, if we go with our rear view camera from Rush, you can just see the chases on behind. They're trying to close the gap down. They're trying to get in with the leading group. It's been whittled down, but has it been whittled down enough? Well, we're soon going to find out. Let's jump in with Rich Orrell. So Orrell at the moment on the front of this pack. The gap still hovering around about 4 seconds. They've got to keep this pressure on. Now, slight rise. This is going to pull them slightly closer together. Every time you go uphill, the physical distance between the avatars comes down. The time gap will remain the same. That gives you a chance, if you put the pressure on as you come into the hill, to close the gap right down. But I think that there's some damage being done up there. Just seeing some big numbers coming out of the front here, and Russ is again going for this. He doesn't want to leave this to a big bunch sprint. There's some serious attacking, and he's making them work for it at the moment. Now the question is, who is going to go after him? It looks like Whitelaw is the man who's being left to do the chasing at the moment, and it could well be that the riders are trying to make Whitelaw do a lot of work here. They've got to sit on his wheels now. Genther can see the danger. He's pushed on to get onto the wheel of Adi Dench. Dench trying to chase Russ down, but as Russ comes round this turn, behind him you can just see it's going to be Whitelaw who's the rider most likely to make contact here. Behind him then Genther is coming, and Genther is putting in a shift here to try and get across. So Genther in the green, working hard. Looks like he's just about got the gap down. He's going to get a little bit of assistance in the black with the orange cap. That is Dawtas Shawwala coming over the top. Looks like Hutchinson coming as Kooslugs coming through with Genther. All this group back together once again, and no major damage done in terms of gaps and time gaps. However, it has seen off the chasing group that contained Pillsworth, Hawes, along with Osman and Orrell, because this is the chasing group of 4, and you can see now that time gap is sitting at 17 plus seconds now. So group 2 is now at 17 seconds. Behind them then I think we're going to find it's going to be 25 seconds, 28 seconds or so back to Richardson. Richardson up in the front group, so it'll be interesting to see. Just going over the joining the map always makes the time gaps jump about a little bit, and our groups jump around. So Time for some OT for me, and these riders are going to have to be fueled up, and they're going to be need to be well hydrated tonight. It is very hot outside, 25 degrees around the Sheffield area, and it is likely to stay that way over the weekend. And if you don't hydrate now, you are going to be in trouble a little bit later on. Still plenty of little kicks to come. Remember, our next kick is the kick up the village. You can see it in front of me. Then go across the face of the cliff there, across the rock face and towards the bridge. But as we come off this bit of sandbar in towards the villas, the group's still holding together. Russ sitting on the back of the pack, but this group now into the dusty section. This is when it gets a little bit rougher. If you're riding this in a race, this is where you need to use your steamroller. It makes a huge difference. We've seen races lost or won by the use of the steamroller. Steamroller basically turns all the rolling resistance down to being the same as a road bike on tarmac. So whereas this climb is much harder normally than the tarmac equivalent, you put a steamroller on, all of a sudden it gets a lot better. Now you just see these riders starting to push, and we're just getting a little bit of a move being made on the front here. The question is, who can drag this out? Can anybody take it clear? I think that is going to be Simonite, who's just starting to stretch it out. It is indeed. So Simonite at the moment on the front, opening the gap up on the rest of the group. He's putting the pressure on. Is anybody going to snap? Is anybody going to crumble under the pressure? Is everybody going to be able to stick with the pace one? It's looking like the group is together once again. Dench up there, looks like Kooslugs in the pack. Here they go onto the cobbles to come into the villas, and Simonite still continuing to push. So Paul Simonite just stretching his legs as they come in towards the tunnels. That chasing group working hard behind. We're now into town here, and as you can see, it is Simonite leading this group as he goes back on to the tarmac, but the group is coming. It's going to be much easier in that group. In towards the sprint line we come, but that's not going to be of any consequence to these riders. They know that the important part of this is to get out the other side and not to expend too much energy before you go up, around and in towards the final ramp coming out of the tunnels. Still plenty of riding though to get to that stage. These riders very close together. Nobody's giving any ground. It is very cagey in there at the moment. So around the turn they go. This group still together. Nobody expending much energy. Nobody doing more than they need to at the moment. Richardson just going up on to the front of the pack. Downing sitting at the back of that group. Tattershaw Waller in there. Whitelaw, Callaway. Now Shelley Charles, one rider who is on a sterling way. We know he's got the pedigree. That is for sure. But if we take a look at Shelley Charles definitely able to still walk the walk, and in this leading pack still as they come up on to this section of climb. It's a slight rise, you can tell by the gradient here, and just seeing everybody continuing to push. Whitelaw just a little bit further back, takes the left hand turn, so we're going to take the left hand forward, go away from the Alp and drop down, and at the moment as we come around, you can just see, it looks to me like Simonite on the front, just putting a little bit of pressure over the top to stretch it out. Russ rolling down towards the back. Whitelaw now pushing up towards the front, wanting to stretch the pace out. Has he seen Russ is near the back? He knows Russ is a danger. He can't afford to take him into a sprint, otherwise the bear will well and truly take a piece of flesh from everybody on the way. But at the moment it looks like this group riding smoothly, nobody giving an inch here, and everybody sat on the wheels as we make our way down this slope. Still plenty more of our U-turn bends to go, but the pack of Rodimore Charles now going to the back in that black kit. So seeing Simonite coming off the front, then it's going to be Whitelaw moving up towards the front. Looks like Tattershaw Waller in there as well. But this group descending quickly down the side here. So very much a game of poker being played by all of the riders at the moment. Let's see who is going to push on here, who is going to try and open a gap. Is anybody been daring? Is anybody going to be brave enough to go for this early? I'm not sure they are. So over the bridge they go, and looks like this packed nicely together over the top of the bridge. They're going to drop down to the right-hand turn in over the wooden bridge, and as you can see, Shelley just currently being left on his own out there. So the group together across the wooden bridges here, the beacon flying above, that chevron flying above Ross Downing in the grey, green and black of the Downing cycling kit, and the group moving quite quickly, but the gap's opening up behind. Let's get you some time checks back from this group. It's now 1 minute 36 to the second group on the road. Let's jump in with them at the moment. This is group number 2. So group 2 at the moment, a little bit further down the road, just coming off the top of the Italian villas, going over the bridge and coming down in towards the marina. So this is group 2, and group 2 are at 1 minute 34 seconds. So 1 minute 34 to group 2 from group 1. Behind them then, it is going to be about 1 minute 12 to 2 chasing riders. That's Richards and Malin. Then 1:49 behind them, we've got Dr. D, Ian Taylor, Chris Ball in there. Then 2:37 down on these riders, Chris Heseltine, James, Neil Tukey, Ewan Parry, along with Matt Crease, John Garfer, Bobby Mason. So quite a big pack chasing behind. But group 2 at the moment, 4 riders on their own, and I think it's likely to stay that way, the way the time gaps look to be panning out at the moment. That leading group still all together, no time gaps appearing between them. So let's take a little bit of a look at the 2 chasers behind this group of 4. So these are our 2 chasers just behind them, and looks to me like Keith Richards here and Paul Malin are just dropping down onto that wooden bridge section. Now the group in front, that is the Andy Hawes, Rich Orrell, Russell Osborne and Greg Pillsworth. They are 1 minute and 4 in front, 37 seconds though behind these 2 riders. We have Rowan Dubash and Chris Ball. So 2 riders, not all that far, in fact 3 riders, because it looks like Ian Taylor is with them. Let's drop in with them. So at the moment, the rider up on the front of these 3, and that is going to be it's going to be Keith Richards. So it's it's Dubash, Ball and Taylor in this group. So looking pretty smooth as they go in down this straight. A bit further back you've got Neil Tukey and Chris Heseltine, James. But let's dive up to the front once again as Russ goes on the offensive. The riders are moving their way around this circuit. You can just see on the map, if we zoom out, we've got the right bend, the left bend coming up, and it is where you start to really feel the pressure coming down here. Russ at the moment leading this group along. So we've got the long sweeping left, and then a tight right up on to the ramp, and that's as the roadway goes up towards that green island. The pack all together here. Our leaders, what's left of the group up on the front. Simon Knight currently wearing the green jersey because he's about to come and have to leave on the way through. 1 or 2 red numbers just coming in as these riders just finesse a little as they come in towards the slope. Dench in here, Clark in here, Richardson, Kooslugs is in the gang, Whitelaw right in this pack as well. Russ Downing, who we're riding with, our leader, right in the mix at the moment. So this is where things are going to get interesting. We take the right hand turn, and our riders just coming in towards the right hand turn. You can see the slope coming up in front of them This is where we're likely to see a move. As the riders come in, you'll see that gradient change. As we look in from outside the glass tunnel, you can see, here it goes, the kicker is on. And behind, Tashul Waller leading them up, already seeing feather flags coming behind. Tashul Waller having to do 7-8 watts per kilo to try and stay with Russ. Russ now at 9 watts per kilo. Behind, everybody is scrabbling for wheels over the top. Is Russ going to keep this pressure on? He's still at 8.2, but that has not ripped the group apart. At the moment, it's Downing, Tashul Waller, Simonite, Genther, Whitelaw, Kooslugs, Richardson. It's Dench, Clark and Callaway all in this group, with Shelley Charles at the moment just on the back. Now Whitelaw goes on the front. I'm not sure he means to be there, but he could be left leading this out if he's not careful. The riders behind are keeping an eye on this. Genther now comes up, then eases off the pressure. Look at that. He didn't want to be on the front, did he? Now Genther just giving it a little bit of a kick again, up some more. Now Russ has put another dig in, up at 9.5 watts per kilo. So Russ it is who's starting to go clear here. He's opened a little bit of a gap. Whitelaw's coming again. Whitelaw's having to respond to this. They know it's not far. Now Whitelaw, I think, is going for a long one. Is anybody able to go with him? Can they work together to bring him back? This is going to be incredibly tight. Round the corner we go. We've got to let them get round the corner before we can go chasing off after them. And at the moment, the man to catch is Whitelaw. He's gone for a long dig in here. He knows this straight really well. At the moment, he played this trick when we were here before. So we've used this finishing K or so to come in, and Whitelaw continuing to keep that pressure on. He's really nailing it at the moment, taking advantage of the slight easing here and down underneath the road. I'm not surprised. That was a long time to hold it on the red zone, but it's going to be a Whitelaw comes through. He takes first man through the finish. Next in is going to be Genther. Then it's going to be Shelley Charles. Charles playing an absolute blinder here. So it's Genther, Charles, Simonite, then Kooslugs, Richardson, Dench coming through. Tashul Waller in that group. Russ Downing. Well, it looks like Russ just going to roll his way in. Fantastic riding on the way into that finish. Now, the group behind, are they going to stay together? This is group number 2 on the road, and it looks to me like Horsey has done one. He's gone off up the road on the climb, and I'm not sure he's really waiting there at 3.4 watts per kilo. So this is the next group on the road coming into the finish. At the moment, we have Andy Hawes in the grey and black with the red bike on the front. Then we have Pillsworth, Greg Pillsworth in the blue shoulders, grey midriff, white back, and then it is immediately behind him Osman. So it's Osman in the all black kit moving up onto wheel number 2, and Russell Osman sat on the wheel of Pillsworth, but behind him is Rich Orrell. Now, we've got some fair sprinters in here. I'm not sure who my money is on out of this group. We're going to sit with Pillsworth at the moment, who's having to lead this out. Orrell and Horse know each other's riding styles very well. They've ridden on the Zwift together so many times. The question is, who is going to put the kick in at the right time? Pillsworth is winding it up here. At the moment, the only person going with him is Osman. The other two, I think, are looking at each other far too much. No gazing into each other's nice blue eyes. It looks to me like Horse and Orrell are going to be distanced here. The mutual appreciation not working to the benefit of these two, because in front Pillsworth and Osman are together. Now it's Pillsworth rolling across to the left-hand side. That gantry is going to come very quickly indeed. Horse and Orrell are at 3 seconds. I think they're going to be out of this. So it's going to be down to who's got the power of these two. Osman's got, he's got the kick on him. But look at this, Pillsworth's got 10 watts per kilo. How fast is the revs there? 126 revs per minute as he goes in and through the line behind. Horse is going to take 3rd place out of that group, with Orrell taking 4th place in the group. And absolutely a blinding run in there from the riders in group number 2. Now, group number 3 is being led by this man. It is Keith Richards, and the group number 3, it's 2 riders. It's Keith Richards and it's going to be Paul Mallin, who are on the way in. We're riding in with Richards at the moment. He's the man in the Z Peugeot inspired kit. He's got the lighter bike of the 2, but Mallin has the faster bike of the 2 bikes because he has got the disc wheels in. Now, can he make it pay? Is it going to pay off for him? We're riding in with Malin. He's put the draft in. It's not going to help because he's in the front, and it doesn't give you much assistance as they head in towards the line. I think Malin is going to be in danger of taking this at a stroll. Richards has backed off the pace here, so it is going to be a Malin. Then it's going to be Richards. Malin putting up 7 watts per kilo, almost on his way. So he comes in, leading in group 3. Then Richards behind him. We just drop him back a touch now. We have got riders sandwiched in between. We're going to try and get across to them. It's easier said than done. So we're going to go across to Ian Taylor, who's going to lead our next group of riders in through the line. So it's Taylor at the moment. He's getting rolled here, and I think Dubash is going to take him here. Dubash just taking Taylor as they come in towards the line. So it is Dubash, then Taylor, then Ball immediately behind him. We're going to drop back a fraction more because Tukey is going to be our next rider, who's got the gap on Crease, Ferren and Heseltine James here. So it's Tukey on his way through. Then it's going to be Crease just ahead of Chris Heseltine James, who has Ferren with him. But look at the speeds coming out here from Garfoot. Garfoot on an absolute blinder there. He really did get the roll on absolutely everybody with that final sprint in and through the line. Looks like Simon Runner in the group just coming in and through. And looks like Sonia Inslee finishing there. Carl Johnson, Simon Runner, Keyworth, Parry coming through. Haywood is a little bit further out, and we're just going to try and take a little bit of a look on the maps to see if there's anybody sandwiched in between. But I think Ferren and Runner are already in and through the line. So Haywood on this climb here. Behind him, I think we're going to see Martin Bolt, Cannon, Flynn, and then I think Mr. Ridley on his own just over on the bridges. So let's just run up the road here and jump in with Haywood. And our map showing, yep, it's going to be Keith Haywood, the next rider in. So let's jump in with Russ. I think he's still somewhere on the line warming his legs down. Russ, how you doing? You alright, mate?
Oh.
That was pretty vicious. You were putting in a lot of attacks there. Were you trying to take 1 or 2 riders off the back of the group, or were you trying to get it down to 1 or 2? What was the plan?
Just making them work hard, mate, for the money.
Well,
plain and simple.
There was some definitely some hard work going on there, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, you never. If you can't win the bike race, you're not going to give them an easy ride, are you? So you just give them some pain on the way through and then pull the pin at a K to go.
Well, it was definitely that, and we just saw the attack by Paul Whitelaw. Whitelaw knows just where to go there because he went after your attack. He went over the top of your attack, but then had enough time gap to be able to ease in and over the line rather than having to push all the way to the line. Behind, there were some really good sprints, and we've seen sprint after sprint after sprint at the moment. I'm very impressed by just how hard these riders are going. Yeah,
Paul Whitelaw went over the top of me, and his legs were going around faster than a Mr. Whippy Whisk or something. Honestly, it was going 150 revs per minute. I was actually past the avatar going. I was like, "Yeah, I think my ice cream's done, mate."
Yeah, definitely. I think he's been using the raspberry sauce as the drink rather than as topping on the ice cream, because he's. I was watching him cut the climb, and we had the camera on him. He was 126 revs per minute for a fair length of time up there, and that's okay if you've managed to stay supple enough to do that. But it's not everybody that can have that kick. But if you've got it, it does help, doesn't it?
Yeah, they say it's same as not only on Zwift but in power in general. If you can keep the cadence high, you're going to get better power. So, but you know, if you get spun out and you lose your legs and your lungs, but you know, so yeah, it's the way to do it. You know, you pedal faster and you go faster. Simple.
Yep. It's not just about turning big gears. I mean, you only need to look at some of the reps that were done, and remember well Chris Hoy and Craig McLean riding an 84-inch gear, I think it was, on the velodrome, and doing sprint reps on them, and they were fractions of a second off the best on a gear that was substantially lower, but they could rev incredibly quickly. And it just shows you it's not just about what power you can chuck out, it's how fast you can turn those legs around. So we'll see whether Chris has got it next time he comes on the Chaingang, and see if he can see if he can match those revs these days.
I'm sure he'll be back in the winter, you know, when things calm down a bit. I'll give him a nudge and we're getting back on, and we had a great night then. So yeah, it'd be good to get him on and chat some spin to win stories.
Yep, definitely. Now, one man who can spin to win is Martin Bob, but just pushing up his revs up towards 90s, goes under the line. Just wanting to stay clear there of Cannon. So Cannon, our next rider, Steve Cannon coming in, but keeping clear of Flynn and Alan Parsons. So Cannon putting in another good ride there, but I think it's going to be Flynn coming up towards the top of the tunnels. Alan Parsons still stuck down in the tunnels, so looks like Alan's going to have a bit of a ride in after taking on those duties and shepherding riders round earlier.
Yeah, obviously got 3.4k or something left there or something, so he'll be home pretty soon, and he'll be back in his allotment, won't he?
He will indeed, and I know Alan looking forward to the cyclocross season that's going to be coming up, and already starting to train for that, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, he's just signed up with us, Tom Stewart's coaching him right up until the cross season, so yeah, he's loving it. So I think he called around here yesterday, he had a load of notes on his stem like he was going to school, so he was like sticking to the watts, sticking to the power, and yeah, it was an active recovery day yesterday for him, but he's still stuck to the numbers, and there's no point in getting a coach if you're not going to listen to him. So
definitely.
He's really bought into it, and I'm sure he'll have a great season. He was looking lean actually, so I was like, I better stay off the crisps and the beer when you come round and see him, mate. You're showing me up.
Oh, he is. He could be Mr. Lean, not Mr. Ridley. That is that's a certain. One of the definitely the really nice guys of cycling, and the Donny Chaingang, plenty of those about. So we've got what is going to be a hot weekend in Sheffield for you, and no doubt, hopefully a busy day and productive day tomorrow on the Pain Cave, as well as squeezing in some riding as well. And of course, we've got. I'm heading down to Cornwall at the end of this, so I'm going down to cold Cornwall. Not often you say that.
Don't hit your surfboard, mate.
yeah, with my balance, that'll be a quick drowning for me, I tell you.
Yeah, but no, have a good one down there, mate, and I'm sure all the gang will be watching out for your updates, and have fun.
Definitely, we'll no doubt bump into a few of our regular chain gangers down there. They're already messaging me saying they're on the way down. As long as they buy me an ice cream or a coffee, I'll be a happy man. So we'll let you get off.
Down if the ice cream's getting bought.
Yeah, if only we know who to see for ice cream on the chain gang. That's for sure. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
And you see you soon. Cheers, mate. So good to catch up with Russ. Jim Flynn now on his way in towards the line, and Jim again sitting in that main group for a long time. Another rider improving week on week on week. So Flynn now coming up for the 52k mark as he comes in towards the gantry. Great riding by Flynn, which leaves us the one and only Alan Parsons, Mr. Ridley himself, on his way in towards the line now. This man took on the Red Beacon duties despite knowing that things were a little tight on time to get him the beacon. Changed the jersey, changed the kit, so he's really distinctive, and towed a few people around at the back, working really hard early on, and great to see Alan in action. So Alan on his way in towards the line. I want to say a massive thank you to Alan, and a massive thank you to you for watching. Alan doing the business over there. I'm going to head off because I'm going to be heading down to meet up with some of the gritty crew down in Cornwall. So from myself, Matt Payne, from Russ Downing, from our Red Beacon, Alan Parsons, thanks for watching the Donny Chaingang. And as our last rider comes in over the line, just leaves me to say thank you to everybody who supported us, to Halo Wheels, OT Velaskin, 1080 Velo Viewer, Grand Tour Coffee and Gritty. From myself, Matt Payne, at Full Speed Events, Russ from Down in Cycling. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.